Hey guys, welcome back to our sixth podcast. You're with Alex and Vadim as always. We would really again appreciate if you guys could leave any positive feedback, comment, subscribe, anything that would just get the word out on the show would be really appreciated. So, anyways, our first topic of the day is
the San Bernardino shooting. And when we first saw it on TV, we were pretty shocked. We didn't know what was really going on, but we saw it on Yahoo, and then we started to stream it on our TV, and it was pretty crazy. What was going on? Everybody was coming out of the building, and they had their hands up. We were trying to figure out what's going on. Supposedly there were two shooters, then there were three shooters. Then the newscaster was saying that potentially there was one shooter. So we literally had no clue as to what was going on.
Before we really get into that, for anyone who sort of has been under a rock, if you're not aware of what happened in San Bernardino, there was shooters that came into a what kind of building was it? It was some kind of government building, right?
It was a governmental.
It was a social worker building, right? Something like
that.
It's
a social worker building, and I think it also helped with people that had disabilities and
right,
stuff
exactly. So there were shooters that came in and shot up the place. A bunch of wounded. I think the last count was 13 dead and like 19 or 17 wounded, and they basically ran from the cops afterwards. And this was, after the shooting, it was all televised, and yeah, so that's basically the information we have about it. So what do you think? What do you like? Well, first of all, everyone said that there were really three shooters. Now it seems like they killed two, but I don't hear anything about a third.
Exactly.
I'm like, you don't hear anyone even talking about it. I'm like, am I missing something? Are they saying now I haven't heard anyone really come out and say, oh, they were wrong. There's actually two shooters, because the eyewitnesses said there were three. So are they just trying to not think about him or something, or are they trying to not to scare people, like, oh, there's this guy still out there?
Listen, do I don't know. They report a certain amount of shooters, and then they go back and say, well, there was really only one shooter. This isn't
like CNN reported there were three shooters, and then they went back and said, oh, you know what, our mistake, there was actually two. I understand something like that where they get like bad intel or something at first, but this is like they actually talked to people, the eyewitnesses, and they said that there were three people there. So this wasn't like, oh, this was reported incorrectly. This was like, hey, I saw three people. Okay, the police chased two, killed two. So I'm still confused. Where's the third?
Right. No, I'm confused as much as you are, because initially, they were going anywhere between 1 and 3, and then after 4 hours, the car was circling around San Bernardino, and they finally shot it up, and they said, well, we killed two and there's one on the loose, and we're looking for that one person on the loose, and we're going door to door to find him, and we can't find him, and we don't know where he is. And then just silence. No one is talking about the third shooter. No one knows who the third shooter was, or even if he existed. But I don't know. It's just so weird and strange that they're pretty much giving you a range. And I'm talking about the media when they're covering, or when they were covering the story, they were giving you a range between 1 and 3. Well, how do you know it's between 1 and 3?
Well, at first, I think they basically came out and said, like, we don't really know too much at this point. They haven't interviewed anyone. They basically know that there definitely was a shooter. So they were going with small numbers. So 1 to 3 isn't a bad educated guess. The problem is that we know that there were 3 now. Like, there were eyewitnesses that said there were 3. They were looking for a third, and now no one is even talking about that there was a third. So the question comes up is, did they capture him and they're interrogating him? They just don't want people to know, or they just don't want people to panic, so they're like, forget about him, don't talk? Because no one is talking about it. I don't hear, none of the big stations, none of the small stations, no one is really talking about the third shooter that was reportedly there. And
I mean, my guess is that there was no third shooter. I think that,
but even though people saw him,
supposedly they saw 3 shooters. Who knows? I mean, we weren't there. We don't know the true story. I mean, there was this Hispanic guy that was being interviewed, and he said that he saw this one guy who was firing at the police.
But no,
so
but,
I
right,
mean,
no, right.
Who,
But
who knows?
Right,
who knows?
Before, right, but there was an interview with this one guy, and I remember this specifically. There was this one guy who was, he said he had I think it was, he had a store or he had a business right next to him, and he took out his gun that he had, and he saw 3 people getting into a car. He actually said that. This, there's like, and the other people, again, this wasn't like one, like, I'm with you if there's one person that comes out and goes, yes, we saw, I saw 3 people. I'm like, okay, you know what, you might have been startled or whatever. But when you have multiple eyewitnesses say that this is what they saw, 3 people, I'm like, and plus the police were at that point looking for a third. They were actively looking for a third. After they had 2 people in the car, they were looking for a third. So,
well, I mean, then here you go again. It's the media that is either incorrectly covering the news or hiding it. They're pretty much ignoring the fact that there were 3 shooters, and let's just forget about. Let's not talk about it. So there you go. I mean, in my opinion, you can't trust what they report on. I mean, how do you know what's happening when it's happening, and they're actually not telling you the whole truth? So that's just my opinion.
Okay, so let's move on to the next thing about it. They basically all came out and said that FBI basically came out and said that this was a terrorist attack. That these were radicalized people. They're not necessarily with ISIS, but they joined online ISIS or whatever it is. Do you think that this is first of all, if this is a terrorist attack, which seems like it is, but usually terrorist attacks, they go by, they come into a building or something like that. They might have a gun or not, but usually they kill themselves afterwards. This is the first time, at least I've heard of, where terrorists went in, shot up a place, and then tried to make a getaway.
Well, and the other strange part, and I see what you're saying. The thing is, if you're a terrorist and you don't blow yourself up, then you're not really considered a jihadist. At least that's my opinion. And
it's not an opinion. That's basically
and what we've seen and heard, in Israel and in other countries.
Well, I mean, the only ones that really don't do this right now, you can make an argument for, is ISIS. ISIS don't kill themselves off every single time they kill somebody else. They kill and they move on. But they're more doing it
because
like
they're
a militia.
Because they're a militia. They're foot soldiers, and they're fighting, jihad.
Right.
Whatever,
but usually when somebody's radicalized, it's usually to a point where you're going to martyr yourself for the cause. But then, this is the first time I've ever seen where it's like they shut up a place and they try to make a getaway. That's where I was like, well, I don't know if this is really a thing where this was a terror attack. Right. It seemed like it was like some crazy people just fucking
supposedly disgruntled employees,
right,
or they were mistreated.
That was the first time that was the first thing that I thought about, because I mean, like, you've heard of things in the post office where somebody went literally postal in a sense back in the day, and it's like you went in and shot up a place. So I'm thinking it was sort of that at first, because
workplace violence. And the other thing is,
that's what it seemed like at first.
Well, the other strange aspect of this story is that the mother, which was in the firefight, which supposedly she shot up people as well. So it was a
Right.
he and a she. She handed off her baby to her mother, and then she went to shoot up people. I don't know. I mean, I don't necessarily buy the whole entire story. It just sounds very abstract to me.
Well, I don't know.
So
that
I
to
don't
me,
know.
that part specific doesn't surprise me.
No,
I
just
mean,
the whole story.
I mean, what
Just
did you want her to take the baby with her? Or
No,
what?
no. I'm just saying, just the whole story of this being a terrorist attack, and have them having pipe bombs. And okay, so then if they had bombs and pipe bombs or explosives, why didn't they use it? I mean, and then they were saying the fact that they were gonna go and they were gonna commit more terrorist attacks. I mean, there's no evidence for it. Show us the evidence. I did not see the evidence.
The simple evidence of that would be the fact that they're trying to get away.
They were trying to get away for 4 hours,
that would
and they didn't leave the area. For 4 hours, they were trying to get away,
Okay.
and they didn't leave the area.
Okay.
So that to me is very, very suspicious.
But what do you mean, like leave the area? You mean like what? Fly somewhere?
They were circling around in San Bernardino. They could have went to Mexico. They could have went somewhere else. But they were circling. They were circling around for 4 hours. That's fine. That's fine. I'm just saying they were circling around in San Bernardino for 4 hours. They didn't go home. They didn't go anywhere else. They didn't know who the suspects were. And it's just very odd to me. And then, but the other thing for me is the fact that they had bombs. They had pipe bombs. What other explosives they had? But they did not use them. Well, why would you have those explosives? Oh, for the let's put it off until another day. And let's use them on another center. No, I don't buy it. Sorry, I don't buy it.
I understand what you're saying, but you can make an argument. I mean, like, you're basically going like, there's really no other possible explanation for what you heard, and that's really not true. I mean, you can easily make an excuse that, well, okay, you know what they were actually trying to do was, it's a good, they had those pipe bombs or whatever you're talking about, and instead of going like, you know what, we could actually just shoot up the place. We could kill a lot of people and we could come back. Or if we come back, we could use them. I mean, that doesn't necessarily have to be like, oh, they weren't looking for the next day, because they obviously didn't martyr themselves. So if they didn't do that, then they could have been potentially thinking. I mean, if you're radicalized to kill somebody, it doesn't mean you're the most rational person to go like, well, I won't be caught. It's like you're not necessarily the brightest of thinkers, at least in my opinion. So I don't think that there's only one way to look at this. I don't think it's only like, well, they absolutely were not, radicalized terrorists. It was something else.
So they were literally thinking, we're gonna shoot up the place, we're gonna live another day, and then we're gonna go blow something up.
Potentially.
Why not take out a bunch of people right then and there? No. With explosive, they could have taken out the whole building if they wanted to.
Now those pipe bombs.
Well, we don't know what other bombs they had. They just said they found pipe bombs.
Okay, so maybe they found pipe bombs.
Maybe there were some other bombs that they had.
But you're making that up.
No, I said maybe. I'm saying,
no, but you're asking a hypothetical with things that we don't know about. Like, well, if they had a nuclear weapon, they probably could have used that, and that would have been even a bigger boom. But we don't know if they had that, so we can't really put that in the conversation and see what they could have done.
Well, technically, we don't even know that they had pipe bombs. Did they show?
Right. But you brought it up to your own point. I'm saying that point not necessarily proves one way 100%. And I'm saying that it not necessarily. The thing is, it's funny. I'm even questioning myself, but because you went so far to that one side, I have to be like the one on the other side.
That's fine.
And I know it's fine for you.
That's fine.
But I'm saying like, I'm questioning myself. So that's the thing. But at the same time, I'm not 100% sold that I know exactly this is not a terrorist attack.
Well, the thing is that, whether it's a terrorist attack or not a terrorist attack, it doesn't really matter. Supposedly, there were a bunch of people killed and injured, I mean, I think that's more.
Well,
I
think
that's more
matter.
of an issue. I mean,
think it does matter.
I don't necessarily think it matters because in the result, people died and they really had no protection. And I guess the next question would be, had they had weapons to protect themselves, could they have taken out those 3 shooters with minimal casualties?
Okay. Before we go into that, the whole point it absolutely does matter if it's a terrorist attack or not. The idea that somehow it's not I don't even understand that. Like, of course it does. If this is a crazy person, usually what we do in the United States is very little. That's basically what we do. When we say, oh, it's some crazy people who came in with guns and shot up a place, we usually, start, oh, it's so bad. We need mental health checks. We need big background checks and stuff like that. And then really nothing gets done, and that's it. That's
okay, so but what changes?
That's basically
what changes
happens.
If this was a terrorist attack?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, well, go ahead.
If we look at that, then it means we start monitoring things more. That means we start actually questioning things more, and that means there actually might be things that we actually do. Because
so what do you want to do?
First, it's not what I want to do. What I'm saying is we do look at things differently when it comes to terrorist attacks. At that point, like, dude, when 9/11 happened, that's when people were like, hey, okay, we need to do something about it. But when horrific things happen in the United States, generally speaking, when somebody shoots up a college, when somebody does something like that, and it's not a terrorist attack, nothing happens. Literally nothing happens.
Well, what do you want to do? Okay, let's say that this was a terrorist attack. What would you want to do?
It's not me. I'm saying we do, as a country, we do more things if we believe it's a terrorist attack.
But what do you believe should be done if this was an official terrorist attack that ISIS claimed, or another group that has
start monitoring more communications in terms of ISIS? Plus,
you don't think that the government's already doing that?
Well, they obviously didn't. If this was a terrorist attack,
no, but they're already claiming. They're already claiming that they are doing it. NSA is not monitoring everyone's communication. You're telling me they can't hone in on ISIS?
But they obviously use a communication that they weren't following. Oh, okay. So if this is a new communication.
Okay. So yet again, this is their negligence. That's what you're saying.
Negligence? I don't think it's negligence.
Because they're already doing it. They're already monitoring people.
Think about World War I and World War II. The communication levels that armies used to communicate with one another changed every time so that they wouldn't be found out. So the same thing, it's like they won't be using. I was like, oh, hey, they're spying on phone calls. All right, let's not call them and let them know that. We need to find a different way to communicate, and that's what's happening. It's happening all the time. So it's not negligence to like, if they're monitoring, it doesn't mean that they're gonna find it if they're not monitoring. Like, like
so you want for them to monitor terrorist activity.
You're missing.
Well, I'm asking
you.
I'm asking the
question. You're missing the point I was making. You're basically going like what I want. I'm not the person in charge of doing this. My point is that the idea that if you call it a terrorist attack or you don't call it makes a huge change for Americans, because America actually does something if we call it a terrorist attack. If we call it, hey, some crazy people that just went into a building and shot up a place, we literally will do nothing. That's the point I'm making.
But let me ask you this question: do you think there should be a difference between a crazy person shooting up a place and a terrorist person? Shouldn't
yes, absolutely.
So you're saying we shouldn't monitor crazy people?
Because
we shouldn't monitor crazy people.
Because crazy people. Like what we consider, like, if somebody's off their meds or something like that, somebody comes in like, hey, begruntled employee who just wants to take out a place, there's very little way to stop that. And the thing is, it's not a joint effort.
But we shouldn't monitor crazy people.
Let me finish what I'm saying. You're literally like jumping in between what I'm saying.
I just want to hear a clear answer.
I am giving it.
Just a yes or no.
I am giving a clear answer.
No,
you're
I'm saying I'm literally asking you a simple question. Should we monitor a crazy person or not?
Not asking me a simple question.
But you're not even answering it.
I've actually answered every question you've asked me, except whenever I start answering, and you hear something that you want to jump into, you stop me and then you go into your own thing. So you know what? You know the answer to it. If you want, answer it yourself.
No, well, I don't know the answer. That's why I'm asking you.
No,
I just want a simple yes or no.
I made a point originally, which you're not even acknowledging. You're basically going on to something else completely. My point was that you're wrong about not considering that if this is a terrorist attack or not.
I'm not wrong. I'm not. I never acknowledged the fact that I'm
right. Exactly.
Wrong about
You're going on. Well, what would you do that's different? I'm like, that's not the point. Do you agree that if Americans think this was a terrorist attack, that some things actually will be done about it?
I think
more than so than if we think it's it's a regular shooting. Honestly,
at this point maybe, but I'm not sold on
that's
it.
My point. But that's my point, is that Americans will do more. That's the point. When you're going on to other things like to try to prove the point originally, no, my point was clear and I made it.
But okay, what I want to know from you is your point, your perspective. If a crazy person shoots up a restaurant, let's say 20 killed and 10 injured, something like that, do you think that the government should monitor crazy people? What do you think? Of course. So they should monitor crazy people and they should monitor terrorists.
But that's a really weird way of asking a question like that. Should we monitor crazy people? Yes, but we don't know who's crazy. So
no. What I'm trying to get at is once they are diagnosed, if you're identified,
of course,
yes.
Of course.
So there should be a database. There should be a database of crazy people, and there should be a database of
they should not be able
potential
to get
terrorists.
Guns. They should not be able to get any kind of
But see, I kind of agree with you, but at the same time, the problem here is that some people may be labeled as crazy or labeled as a terrorist. Like, for example, Ron Paul is on the terrorist anti-fly list, and he's considered a terrorist based on the government's list. So in a sense, since he's on that no-fly list, which is ridiculous. So every time he goes to airport, he's going to be checked for weapons or bombs or whatever it is, and he's not allowed to then potentially buy a firearm. So I mean, at the same time,
if your point, which seems like it is, your point seems like we don't have a perfect system. I would never argue that we do. I think we don't have a good system. Like that, I would never argue the other way around. But
Ron Paul on the no-fly list. I mean, how
again,
is that?
I'm not arguing with you. I don't know. You brought something up, but there's no argument for me that we have a shitty system and it doesn't work right now.
Like, okay, you're a TSA agent, right?
Yes.
And you see Jesse Ventura, and he's boarding a plane.
Right.
Why are you going to frisk him to make sure that he doesn't have a bomb? You know what I mean? It's almost insane in that sense. I completely agree with
you. There's no. Right. I mean, you kind of, I don't know. You kind of brought up.
No, I'm just asking. I'm just asking.
Just kind of like,
I'm just asking. You what you think? You know what I mean? So I'm like on the same page as you, but at the same time, I feel as though that there will be people that will be on the no-fly list, on the no-gun list, and they don't deserve to be on there. And go ahead and try to get your name off of it.
But it seems like But it seems like this point that you kind of went into started from. Should crazy people be, if you're actually diagnosed as somebody who has some kind of mental disability,
right? But also as a terrorist, right? I was going back and forth.
You asked me specifically about.
I asked you about somebody with the person who has mental disabilities,
right? So yeah,
right. And then I asked you about if a person is considered to be a terrorist, should they be on a similar list? And well, anyway, I remember you saying yes, but then I went into the fact that, well, what if that person isn't crazy? What if that person isn't a
then
terrorist.
then they should go and get re-diagnosed. And
Right,
they could be taken
but-
off. No, like they could
what
be
if
able to
what
taken
if
off.
it's really difficult to do that? What if you can't get your name off of that list?
Then
You know what I
then
mean?
I'm
It just
okay for you not to have a gun. If you were at one point considered crazy and you're
No,
thinking
no,
like I'm
no,
not crazy
no.
anymore,
no.
I don't mind you not having a gun.
No,
I really
no,
don't.
I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is if you were wrongfully put on that list and it turns out that, you weren't warranted that.
Yeah, it seems like
you
you're
know.
specifically talking about if there's a mistake where somebody was accidentally put on the list as a terrorist, a suspect
maybe
or something like that.
no. Maybe it wasn't accidentally put. Maybe it's an activist and he's anti-government. Let's just say he's
But
literally
how would
anti-government.
he be able to put somebody else on the list?
No, he would be
he's put on the list.
Yeah, he's put on the
Okay.
list because he's anti-government.
Okay.
Supposedly, he's dangerous, and they can say,
like Alex Jones, right?
well, I wouldn't say like Alex Jones. I don't
Okay.
think he's on any list, but
Okay.
that's just my opinion. No, I'm just saying it's an activist who's anti-government or is anti-North America trade agreement, NAFTA, or whatever it is, and they're put on this list specifically because they are anti-government.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. You're talking about a system that I don't really know what the rules are for, like completely specifically for that. I don't know what criteria they look for them to put, whether it's like they don't like America or they want to destroy it, or well, obviously if they want to destroy it, but for example, if somebody says, well, I'm anti-government, and they don't have any tendencies for violence, I absolutely don't think that they should be put on there.
No,
but I
understand.
but I don't really know if that's really the case.
And
I don't know. I don't know if they're putting people who are
Right.
just like, oh, fuck the government, and they're like, oh,
Right.
well, we're going to put you on the list.
Exactly, and that's what I'm trying to get at is you can't differentiate between someone that is not going to harm anyone else and someone that is, because you can be put on that list just because you speak out against something.
There is no 100%. I mean, like there's no 100% way.
Yeah.
I mean, if you right now look at Israel, Israel has probably one of the best, or I don't want to say the best. They have one of the strongest interrogation / checks for anyone flying in, flying out, all the kind of checks. And even through all the setup that they have done, they still have terrorist attacks. It still doesn't stop. So even if we were to up our game to perfection, which is impossible, we still, like, there would still be people that would sneak through. There's still people who are crazy enough to do crazy things.
Well,
whether it's for religious reasons or if it's
right. Well,
other reasons.
Since you mentioned Israel, I mean, they have such stringent, security. Even they are suffering terrorism in a new way, and that is by Palestinians
Right.
or Arabs that live in Jerusalem who are attacking people with knives. So, I mean, what do you do in that situation? Do you just, take away knives now so no one can cut anything? I mean, then let's say you take away knives and, they start chiseling away and, they create, some type of wooden weapon. Do you then take away wood from them? I mean, where does this stop? I mean, you have to ask yourself, what is the core issue here? Is it really the weapon? Is it really the person? Or is it the political environment that has been created in these regions? So you
the religious.
It could be right. You can also say religion. Absolutely.
I think most people would say religion.
Well, most people don't know what's going on, but yes, you can. You can you can say it, but it's not technically correct. But yeah,
based on Mr. Know it all?
Yes,
How
absolutely.
would you know that?
Okay, I've studied it for quite a bit, so
Okay, so that
I
means
pretty
you
much
have
know.
an idea, and it's
No, I don't
your
have
own
an
personal
idea. I don't
opinion.
have an idea. I don't have a personal opinion. There are facts that can be proven, but let's
There can't be, but
yes,
I'm
they can.
happy. I'm happy that
Let's-
you believe that that's the case.
let's go into something that is more interesting in my opinion. So let's say that the people that were shot up in San Bernardino had guns, with them. The question is, how many people would have been killed had someone stepped in with a gun or guns and just shut up these three people?
Okay. All right.
So what do you think?
So first, people forget that people can get guns. It's not illegal in the United States to get guns, as long as 99.9% of people could get guns in the United States. Barring that you were in jail or something like that. So first, to get that away, absolutely. If everyone there had a gun, would there be less fatalities and less injuries? Without a doubt. Without a doubt, there would be less people that would get injured or killed that day. Maybe it would be 2-3 people, and then the rest would just take out their Uzis or whatever they have and just shoot up a place. But the question,
they can't. We're in California.
Okay, that's okay. That's okay. Fine. Whatever other weapon they want, they like to carry, they take out and they all shoot it. So absolutely. But what is the long-term effect of this? What is the long-term?
We're not asking. No. You're going into something else.
No,
you're going into something else.
I'm not going.
I asked you that day if they had guns, and you already answered. Now you're going into the long-term effects, as if it's gonna cause you cancer or something like that. Come on,
stop. Let me make my point, and then you could argue it however you want. Okay, my point is that in the long-term effect, whether it's the next day, whether it's the same day, if you have millions of people, or basically everyone in California, which is millions upon millions of people that are driving with guns, people that are going to bars with guns, people that are going shopping with guns. You're telling me that would be a safer place if everyone had a gun, where some crazy person, crazy. Forget that I said crazy. Not crazy. Somebody who's literally mad because somebody cut them off. And he flips him the finger. The other guy goes, "What?" And he takes out his gun. Now both of them are taking out their guns because they're afraid of each other. So the idea that the guns overall, everyone having guns is going to be safer. No, there's going to be gunshots. It's going to be a regular news thing. Oh, today.
So it's going to be the wild West, right?
Absolutely.
Really? So that happens in Texas. Everyone almost has a gun in Texas, and then everybody's shooting up everyone in Texas.
That's
really?
Not everyone does. The people that have guns are usually living in rural areas. If you actually go to Dallas,
we have to look at the statistics. We have to look at the statistics and see how many people have guns.
Most people do not have guns, and the people that do have guns are usually keeping them at home. Find out the statistics. Actually,
we're gonna have to find out the statistics.
Find out the statistics of actually people that that actually carry guns with them, and you'll see that statistic is ridiculously small.
That's fine. I'm saying we're going to have to find out. But I completely disagree. I see what you're saying. You're right. If we can get guns out of the hands of everyone, and I mean everyone, the police, the government, and I absolutely agree with you, then it will be a better place. No doubt. But if the government is not giving up their guns, then I don't think the people should give up their guns either. I'm just saying.
It seems like you're making you're literally going up, hey, let me just make up a point that wasn't even discussed.
No, I'm just telling you.
Okay, well, that's good. I'm happy you made a point.
Right.
All right.
No,
I have no clue
but you can't.
I'm saying that if everyone, the thing is, again, I started off with saying that it's a legal thing in the United States to get guns. Anyone and everyone could get guns, except the small little minority.
But concealed carry isn't
it's
easy.
Difficult. Exactly. Yeah. It's difficult in certain states. In
California, it's very difficult to even
one
get
of those
it.
things, but you still can do it. It's not. It's like when they say it's difficult, you have to jump.
You can do it.
You have to jump through some hoops, but you can do it.
And you have to appear next to a judge and ask him for permission.
That's fine.
Oh dear Lord, can I please have a concealed carry license so I can carry and save my life?
It's hilarious.
Yeah, it is hilarious.
Yes. Okay. So but it's doable, right? So
it's doable.
So the thing is, okay, people choose around the United States choose not to get guns.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Right. So that idea of well, as long as everyone has guns, it's not like the government is stopping people from getting guns. Everyone could literally get a gun.
No,
if they
I'm not
wanted
saying
to.
that the government
So, right,
stopping.
right, but that was my
They
point.
want to stop people from getting guns, but
except you have no proof of that.
oh yeah,
Right.
sure. Obama every time comes out when there's a mass shooting,
exactly.
we should have more stringent gun laws.
And that's him.
And
that's
what
him
does
saying,
that really mean?
And that's him saying that he wants to take away the guns.
He doesn't say anything. He just says we should have more stringent gun laws.
Exactly. So, but you just said they're trying to take away the guns.
Oh, of course they are.
So I said
he's
proof.
not he's not actually saying what he's gonna do, but he wants to do it.
That's what the NRA has been saying.
Let's just put it that
the
way.
NRA was saying that, and every gun nut was saying that when he got into office, Obama's gonna take your guns away. Okay, try as soon as he gets in, he's gonna take your guns away. First 4 years happen. Oh well, if you reelect him, for sure this time he's gonna take.
Well,
your guns
it's not
away.
easy.
Again, it's coming.
Well, look in Australia.
Okay, what
they took it. Okay, in Australia, did they take away guns?
Hold on. What
they
has
did.
he done? What has he done? What has he done? They've taken away your guns.
No,
In
no.
what way? He's giving you
Listen.
if you want to carry a gun, you could carry it to national parks now. If anything, he's giving you more rights.
Listen, who the
from
hell is
federal-
he? Who the hell is he to tell anyone whether they should carry a gun or not?
What?
No,
He's the
I'm not-
president of the United States. If
He's the
anyone-
president
if
of the
anyone- if
United
any-
States, and you have to ask him for permission to be free.
What? Since when?
That's what you're saying.
No,
That's
I
what
didn't
you're
say
literally
that.
saying.
No, I'm not.
Why should I ask anyone for permission to do what I want?
Are you literally just making up your own arguments in your mind?
You're saying that
How-
he's
how is that-
allowing
how
he's
is that
allowing
possible?
for you to carry
I didn't
guns
say that.
into you said it into
No, I
national
didn't.
parks.
No,
you
no,
said
exactly.
it.
It's not.
National parks are national.
Hold on. Hold on. Before he got into office, this was a law prohibiting people from doing so. He allowed it.
And I don't agree with it in the first place.
Yeah, he gave you the right. He didn't. First of all, he didn't take it away. He gave it.
I understand.
So
I
how
understand
is
what
that,
you're saying.
Like that's you literally just made up an argument in your mind.
All I'm trying to get at.
What you did was
all
you
I'm trying to
literally
get.
no stop.
You should not have
made an argument. You made an argument in your mind, and then you're bringing it up like we just had this argument.
All I'm trying to
That
get
doesn't
at
even make
is
sense.
you shouldn't ask for permission to do what you want. As long as you're not hurting anybody, you don't need permission from the government to do something. That's all I'm trying to get at.
Craziest thing.
It is not the crazy. That's what it is. He's allowing.
We have laws.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
have laws. If you want
we
to,
have laws.
So you're not hurting anyone. So you should park wherever you want. If you want to park in a 360 in the middle of the street,
no.
you should do it. You're not hurting
Yeah,
anybody.
yeah.
You're just
you can do it.
Right, exactly.
You can do it.
And there should be penalties for that.
Yes, because people
There you
can't
go.
get through, but that's
Exactly.
different.
What do you mean?
That is hurting somebody.
No, that's
That-
not hurting anyone.
yes,
No,
it
That's
is.
inconvenient. That's inconveniencing
You are.
people.
You are because people can't get through.
They can. No. They can. People could go around you. Again,
No,
it's going to be
okay.
inconvenient. Exactly, it's gonna be inconvenient. That's not hurting.
Anyway. I don't want to ask anyone for permission to do
you
what
know
I want.
This is a conversation. Literally, like we completely went off because you literally made up a conversation in your mind, and you just wanted us to go into whatever was flowing through it.
That's
so
right.
let's move on to the next thing, which is, and it kind of goes into this somewhat, at least with the original idea, not with whatever you went to.
Whatever I went to is pretty interesting. But anyway, let's go.
Yeah. Of course, you're the smartest and the most interesting.
Of course, let's go.
We forget. So the next thing is Trump, and Trump is obviously in the news all the time, especially now. But right now, it seems like these comments seem like they're going to either really help him with his base or hurt him nationally speaking. And that is, he basically wants to create a registry for all Muslims if he becomes president. And the next thing he wants to do is stop all the Muslims from coming into the United States. So basically, if you're a Muslim, that's it.
Yeah.
So what do you think of all this? Do you think he's on the right track, or do you think he's, he's hurting himself by doing this?
Well, I think he's definitely going to hurt himself. Like I said, any day now, something's going to happen, and he's going to, be ousted of the presidential.
But let me ask you. Okay. You know what? I've actually heard that before. I've heard it on the news. I've heard it on the net. I've heard that many times. And to be honest with you, I even probably thought that for a bit as well. But my question is,